I just sensed that there could be something in my family history that would be disappointing. Negative, yes. I thought I was gonna have that kind of moment. And Skip had asked me to do it for a long time, and I finally decided to do it because I thought it'd be helpful for my children.
Sunny Hostin had built a strong reputation on The View as a bold and unwavering advocate for social justice. She was known for her relentless critique of racism, inequality, and historical injustices, often challenging others to face uncomfortable truths. However, everything shifted when Sunny appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots. During the episode, Sunny uncovered a startling part of her ancestry. Her third great-grandfather had been a slaveholder. The revelation left Sunny visibly shocked, and viewers were equally taken aback. Yet, instead of addressing the discovery with the introspection and accountability she so often demanded from others, Sunny dismissed it as a relic of a bygone era, a regrettable yet distant piece of history. The reaction was immediate and intense. Fans and critics alike began questioning how someone so outspoken about confronting historical wrongs could so easily downplay her own family's troubling past. Social media lit up with accusations of hypocrisy and double standards, and even Sunny's most ardent supporters began to waver, unsettled by what they saw as an uncharacteristic lack of self-reflection. The firm moral stance Sunny was known for suddenly seemed unsteady. As Sunny Hostin sat across from renowned genealogist Henry Louis Gates Jr., she was poised and confident, ready to delve into her ancestry on Finding Your Roots. For someone so outspoken about race and reparations, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to uncover a story that would align with her strong public stance. But what she unearthed was anything but expected. It was a bombshell that shook her to her core. Sunny discovered that her ancestors were not oppressed minorities or struggling immigrants as she had long believed. Instead, they were European slave owners who had directly profited from the very system she has spent her career condemning. In that moment, her confidence wavered. Her polished exterior cracked. Her response was a mixture of disbelief and discomfort. "Wow, I'm a little bit in shock," she stammered. "I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders." Her voice faltered, and for a brief moment, the room was filled with an awkward silence that seemed to weigh heavier than her words. Sunny attempted to salvage the moment, mentioning how this newfound knowledge might be interesting for her children to learn, but the damage was done. The internet would soon erupt with reactions, memes, and commentary about the irony of her discovery. But if the awkwardness of the revelation wasn't enough, the lack of self-awareness in her reaction would soon invite even sharper criticism. She dismissed it as just a fact of life, leaving critics and audiences alike stunned by her inability to address the hypocrisy. And that's where Greg Gutfeld enters, armed with humor and biting critique, ready to spotlight the glaring contradictions in Sunny's narrative. Stay tuned.
She's European.
Yeah.
I know. It's weird because when you look at her, my mother's blonde and she has light eyes, and my whole family looks like that. So I think inside I sort of knew that this was my history, and that's probably why I didn't want to do it. And I spoke to my mom about it. She was deeply disappointed. She actually cried about it.
While Greg Gutfeld's critique was sharp, the real chaos unfolded online as social media erupted with commentary on Sunny Hostin's revelation. The hypocrisy was too glaring to ignore, and the internet turned it into a spectacle. From viral tweets to TikTok videos, people couldn't get enough of the irony. Memes flooded in with captions like, "Sunny Hostin finding out her family-owned slaves is the plot twist no one saw coming," and "Reparations? Looks like she'll be paying herself first." The debate wasn't just about jokes though. Some defended Sunny, insisting that she shouldn't be judged for her ancestors' actions. "You can't control where you come from," argued one supporter, but others countered with a harsher perspective. This isn't about blame, it's about the hypocrisy. She spent years shaming others for their family histories while ignoring her own. Social media users pointed out that this was a moment for reflection, not dismissal. Sunny's quick shrug and her dismissal of the revelation as a fact of life left a bad taste in the mouths of many. As one commenter wrote, "Imagine if she had owned it, reflected on it, and used it as a teaching moment. Instead, she brushed it off and acted like it didn't matter." The internet's response was a mix of humor, frustration, and disappointment. It wasn't just about Sunny's personal hypocrisy, it was about the larger issue of moral grandstanding and the lack of accountability from public figures. Sunny's reaction had inadvertently turned her into a case study of the very double standards she often denounced. And yet, as the memes piled up and the debates raged on, one question remained. Would Sonny use this moment to spark meaningful dialogue, or would it be swept under the rug? Greg Gutfeld wasn't done asking that question, and neither was his audience. Stay with me, because while Sonny was busy dodging criticism, Melania Trump was preparing a lawsuit that would drag everyone into the fire, and Sonny was about to make a mistake that would pull Joy Behar directly into the center of it. Sonny Hostin had built her reputation on The View as a fearless advocate for social justice, never hesitating to call out racism, inequality, and historical injustices. Her voice was unwavering, her stance clear. There was no room for excusing the sins of the past. But everything changed when Sonny appeared on the PBS show Finding Your Roots. In a shocking twist, Sonny discovered that her third great-grandfather had been a slaveholder. The revelation was jarring, not only for Sonny, but for viewers who had followed her passionate condemnations of systemic racism. For a brief moment on screen, the shock in Sonny's eyes was undeniable. Yet, instead of confronting the discovery head-on, she dismissed it as an unfortunate fact of history, a product of its time. The response was immediate and unforgiving. Critics and supporters alike questioned how someone so vocal about historical accountability could gloss over her own family's dark past. Social media lit up with accusations of hypocrisy.
And then she said, maybe that's why I have been so connected to Black culture, because it's an atonement in my spirit. And I received that. I also found out that, and there were slaves on both sides of her family, mothers and fathers, but we are 7% indigenous Puerto Rican.
People demanded to know why Sonny, who had long held others to high moral standards, was now avoiding accountability for her ancestors' actions. But the criticism wasn't just coming from opposing viewpoints. Even Sonny's loyal followers began to waver, disturbed by how casually she addressed such a significant discovery. Her once unshakable moral ground now seemed unstable. Yet this was only the beginning. Because as the world questioned Sonny's integrity, another storm was brewing. A storm that would drag her co-host Joy Behar into the spotlight and ignite a confrontation unlike anything The View had seen before. And the next move? It wouldn't come from Sonny, it would come from Joy. Joy Behar sat in stunned silence for a moment, her eyes locked on Sonny Hostin. The air in the studio was electric, the audience holding its breath. Sonny's subtle accusation that Joy's jokes had helped fuel Melania Trump's $100 million lawsuit wasn't something that could be brushed off. It wasn't a playful jab or a lighthearted remark. It was a direct hit, and Joy wasn't about to let it slide. Joy leaned in, her expression shifting from surprise to something sharper, more deliberate. Her voice, calm but cutting, broke the silence. "Are you suggesting that I'm responsible for Melania Trump's lawsuit?" she asked, the words hanging heavily in the air. The tension in the studio was palpable. Sonny hesitated, clearly realizing the gravity of what she had implied, but it was too late. The damage was done. Joy didn't wait for an answer. She unleashed a response that was as precise as it was devastating. She reminded Sonny on live television of all the times The View had given her a platform to speak out against racism and injustice. Joy pointed out the glaring contradiction. Sonny had never hesitated to hold others accountable for their actions. Yet now, when faced with her own family's dark history, she deflected blame. How can you hold everyone else's feet to the fire, but can't do the same for yourself? Joy's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The weight of her words hit like a hammer. She wasn't just defending herself, she was exposing the inconsistency in Sonny's stance. But this wasn't Sonny's only problem. While the internet was ablaze with criticism, a larger storm loomed on the horizon. Behind the scenes, Melania Trump was preparing a $100 million lawsuit that threatened not just Sonny's reputation, but the very fabric of The View. As tensions mounted, Sonny made a critical mistake, one that would pull her co-host Joy Behar directly into the center of the unfolding chaos. What began as a personal revelation was now snowballing into a crisis that could change everything. The internet's relentless nature had turned Sonny's revelation into a full-blown character crisis.
I have an ancestor, my third great grandfather, immediately registered to vote even though he was illiterate. And he voted with an X, Dean Cummings with an X. And then he was threatened with lynching by the KKK, by others in the South.
Social media platforms became battlegrounds, with viral posts dissecting her every word and action. Memes mocking her flooded timelines, hashtags questioning her integrity trended, and threads analyzing her comments gained traction. Sonny Hostin, the fiery advocate for justice, who had built her career on unwavering moral clarity, found herself on the defensive. Her discovery was indeed shocking. During the program, Sonny learned that her third great-grandfather had been a slaveholder, a revelation that struck a jarring chord for someone so vocal about confronting systemic racism and historical injustice. The moment was as uncomfortable for her audience as it was for Sunny herself. For a brief instant on screen, the shock in her expression was undeniable. But what happened next left many stunned. Rather than addressing the discovery with the accountability she demanded of others, Sunny dismissed it as an unfortunate product of its time, brushing it off as a mere footnote in her family history. Back on The View, the revelation cast a shadow. While Sunny continued to speak out on issues of race and justice, the discovery became an unspoken undercurrent in her public persona, a reminder that no one's history is immune to contradiction. For Sunny, it wasn't just about grappling with her family's past. It was about navigating the fine line between advocacy and accountability in the face of deeply personal truths. The public's reaction to Sunny Hostin's revelation was swift and brutal. Supporters and critics alike took to social media, demanding answers. How could someone so vocal about the importance of historical accountability seemingly downplay her own family's dark past? Accusations of hypocrisy began to dominate the conversation. Sunny, who had long championed the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths, now found herself on the defensive, her moral authority under siege. The backlash came from all corners. Opponents seized the opportunity to discredit her, while loyal followers expressed disappointment and confusion. To them, her dismissal of her ancestors' actions as merely a product of the times felt out of character and deeply unsettling. The disillusionment spread quickly, eroding the trust Sunny had worked so hard to build. What had once been a platform of strength and unwavering conviction now seemed fragile and uncertain. But the controversy didn't end there. While Sunny wrestled with the fallout,